Squid Comics Podcast 2.0, episode 16.
16?
Woohoo! Yep.
Episode 8?
16.
Oh, so we're doing Star Wars episode 8.
Oh, yeah. Star Wars spoilers abound.
Star Wars.
Evil Squid Podcast 2.0, 16, episode 8.
I'm Drew.
I'm Don.
I'm Scott.
And we talk about comic books mostly, but we'll probably talk about Star Wars today.
Yay!
Because we've all seen it. And if you have not seen it, we will spoil it. So you probably should go watch it and then come listen to the episode.
Yeah, or skip the first 45 minutes.
Yes. So pretty much just skip the show because we don't have much else.
Oh, we got Star Wars.
We got Star Wars. All right. Star Wars. We just jump right in, I guess.
Sure.
What did you guys think?
I want to hear Scott's opinion.
Why did you want to hear my opinion?
I can start. I had the same issue with 8 that I had with 7. It was just a rehash of... Really?
I did not feel it was a rehash, although I do feel that they took some very... what'd you call it? Scenes or chunks from other movies type things. But honestly, I don't know.
Jedi Empire squashed together.
Do you think so?
So
I did not feel that there was much Empire, besides the fact of the end and you have like some walkers going around. But come on,
the whole movie was the slowest space chase I've ever seen in my life, and wasn't like Empire.
But that was original.
Yes, that was original. That's the one original thing they can come up with is the slowest space chase.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, I mean, the Millennium Falcon was like being chased like half of the Empire.
Half of Empire.
And Benicio del Toro was Lando.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I guess kind of.
Double-crossing guy.
Well, he double-crossed, but it's not like he was an old friend. And...
I know, but, I mean, generalization.
I guess that's
and he betrayed him because for profit, whereas Lando kind of had his arm twisted. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, yeah, okay, so there's a betrayal, so it's the same because someone betrayed?
My issue with the movie is, like I talked to you about it, I want to see 7, 8, 9, I want to see the rest of the story. All we're doing, and you said it's the same themes. We'll come up with new themes. 1, 2, and 3 were different. We saw different characters. We saw different planets.
It was different.
We saw different space battles. We saw,
But you're missing the whole central theme of the movie, which is about losing hope and then regaining it. And that wasn't in either of the other movies, was it? In the 4, 5, and 6, Luke had hope the whole time.
So we have the Rise of the Sith. Did we defeat the Empire? In 4, 5, and 6.
Well, the Empire was already in charge.
Okay, well, it's the same. It's 20 years later. Is it 20 years later?
30.
30 years later, and it's the same cycle. It's the rebels fighting against the Empire to come back into power.
Correct.
That they defeated 30 years ago.
History repeats itself.
It's just history repeating itself. Give me something new. Give me the next chapter. I don't want the next chapter to be the same chapter. I didn't hate it. I liked it.
Maybe you're done with Star Wars.
No, I'm not done with Star Wars, but
I
just want it to be...
That's what Star Wars is, though. You're like, I hate it for being Star Wars.
1, 2, and 3 weren't...
It's too much like Star Wars.
1, 2,
but
and
it
3
is Star Wars. Yeah, they weren't that good.
But they were different.
They had some of the same themes. You had the guy going to the dark side. It's because it was a backstory.
There wasn't that much Empire in it.
I did not feel that.
Luke and Rey were Dagobah.
No.
Oh, no. Luke was Yoda and Rey was Luke. And they were on Dagobah.
Not even close.
What? So. They even had the X-Wing fighter in the water.
And did he raise it up? No.
Well, no.
So
it's right there.
He had to get there somehow.
You don't think that was Empire?
I don't think so. No,
because the motivations are totally different. The reason Yoda didn't want to train Luke is because he thought that he was going to go to the dark side, and the reason Luke didn't want to train Rey is because he just wanted out.
He wanted out. He wants the Jedis to die because he tried to train the Jedis and it didn't work, and they turned on him.
Well, he felt
that's not it.
That wasn't so much it. He just felt that the Jedi Order was not something that was really truly bringing balance to anything. So,
and it's not, obviously,
people are missing
repeating the cycle 30 years later.
That's his point.
And I think that's really what his point is.
And Luke's everybody's missing that speech from Luke where he's like, "What do you think? I'm just going to get my laser sword and go take on the thing?" It's like, whatever I do, it's not going to make any difference.
Right.
It doesn't matter. there's no point to me doing anything because what I do has no effect.
So what's the point of the next 3 movies?
Well, the whole point of this movie was Luke coming around from that viewpoint.
Yes. But
He had to come around. That's the whole point. It's all about Luke coming from his lowest point ever to coming back to having hope again. And passing the baton. That's the whole point.
It really is.
The lightsaber battle was cool in the throne room or whatever you want to call it.
Fantastic. It was one of the best
That was awesome.
type of battles, yes. I thought some of the other little twists and things that they did, although while people really didn't change their tune very much, type stuff, I did find it interesting that they killed, the Snoke or whatever, that type of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, no. And see, I thought that was really cool because, like, at the beginning, like, I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, Snoke, they killed him. I'm like, we didn't find out who he is. I'm like, everybody on the internet made this huge thing.
Oh, yeah.
Who is Snoke and what's his thing? And then they did the complete opposite. They just killed him and made him a non-point.
Yes. Which is what actually...
At first I was a little disappointed because I'm like, I wanted to find out who he is. And then at the end I'm like, well, that's really cool because they took this and then they did that
and
with it.
And they did that with it, yes. Exactly
and I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what... talk about originality. Hey, let's build something up and... Hey, surprise!
I don't even know that they built it up.
So,
they introduced a character and then the internet went nuts with it and came out with all these theories. I mean, it wasn't really them doing it.
And here's what the problem... Okay, so my piece, Last Jedi, standalone type film or whatever you want to say type stuff, I thought it was well done, had decent writing. I do have some faults with it, but overall, did it entertain me? Yes, it entertained me, type of stuff. I could definitely see that there's definitely some very similarities to previous movies, so they still have that problem yet of basing too many things off the past. But overall...
But with episode 7, you can't really get away from that because he set the tone of what it's going to be. You can't veer too much from the arc they've already set up in 7.
No, I get that.
That's exactly
they
right.
should have...
So you're going to hate episode 9.
But here's
started something different in 7.
But here's... Well, they probably should have. But
they
needed
still have to tie in the Han Solo.
That's right. They were still trying to tie in the older crowd and everything else to try to get themselves onto their own leg to do whatever else. And they also had to do something that could hopefully bring the crowds in, and nostalgia is a big thing, type stuff. So going through that, I had no problem with that. And like I said, I felt there was enough twists and turns. You're right. There's a scene in the throne room there with Snoke and stuff where he's got Rey looking through that freaking little mirror thing or whatever the hell it is, magnifying glass,
and seeing this type of thing.
So you're exactly right.
When he walked her into the throne room with the handcuffs.
I mean, that is Return of the Jedi, all the way, very much. But still, it was very entertaining and, some little throwbacks to whatever else. I think the bigger problem that I see with what they have is the fact that if you look at what Lucas had for what he was doing with 4, 5, and 6, and even 1, 2, and 3, he had a plan. He was the one guy, one-man show, writing a story in all 3 parts, whatever you want to say. Right. He had an outline for whatever he wanted to do. Now let's say 4, 5, and 6. We know he directed 4. He didn't direct 5 or 6. But he still at least wrote it, had a big chunk of that type of stuff in it. They probably took some deviations here or there, but overall, he had ideas that he was flowing from each one.
Right.
He was building something up. In 1, 2, and 3, he did them all. That he had that thing planned out as, this is where I wanted to get in an endgame. While the films themselves are, they just don't hold up all that well or something, or the acting's crap.
Right.
There's some really great ideas in 1, 2, and 3, from an originality standpoint. The problem that they have here with 7, 8, and 9 right now is... They're just like, we have to get something out there, and we're going to make it a trilogy. And here you go. Here you write number 1. Okay, so you write the first one, J.J. Abrams. He writes it. He sets some things up, who's Snoke, who's Rey's parents, whatever the heck else. And then they go, okay, and now we're going to hand the baton to so-and-so. Right. They had no outline for what they wanted to do with this trilogy necessarily, except for say, hey, we're going to build something up and start something. We're going to go from this guy, and we're going to go to the next guy. So this next guy gets it pretty much a clean sheet and goes, okay, I've seen what the heck you guys did. Now it's my turn. It's the, what is it, the guy you guys talk in the comic book world?
Johnson?
So, well, no, Rian Johnson, but in the comic book world, when somebody writes a story, leaves them at a cliffhanger, and then the next guy's got to pick it up.
Like the Commandy Challenge.
There you go, that type of thing. So essentially that's almost what's happening here. We build it up to here. Okay, this guy, now you pick it up, and where are you going to go with it? So Rian Johnson decided, I'm going to make Snoke a non-factor because I'm trying to build up the Ben Solo type of storyline. Okay. And Rey's parents, I love what he said. I'll tell you that one here in a second. But overall, what he was trying to do with Rey was something different than what a bunch of other people expected as well. Mm. For me personally, I thought it was a great idea. It works. But for a lot of other people, I can see the fact that it goes, why the hell are you doing something, building it up here like it's a big mystery, and then you go absolutely nowhere with it? Yeah. And then the next guy now, the Abrams in this case, is picking up 3. Where the hell is he going to go with this thing? Okay, all of a sudden my resistance has gone from 400 or 500 people to 12 or less.
Yeah.
I've got my big bad guy's dead, and I got this kid that I got to build up to being the big bad. I got this Jedi now in training who seems to be able to do everything correct no matter what happens, And I've lost my big Jedi master. So, where does he go from here? I don't know. I can see some of that type of stuff. But I guess I wanted to swing back around to the Rey factor. What Rian Johnson said about Rey was, he said, okay, in Empire Strikes Back, going back to that a little bit, what was the worst thing that Luke Skywalker could hear at that point in time when he was fighting Vader? That Vader was his father. Because he hated Vader, he was, this was his adversary, this is what he felt like he had to go up against. So in what Rian Johnson was trying to do with Rey was, what was the worst thing she could hear? Now, seeing what we built up in Episode 7 and even most of Episode 8 at that point in time is having family was very important to her. Having somebody that cared about her, loved her, whatever the heck else. So what's the worst thing she could hear, especially at that moment type thing? Your parents meant nothing. They did not care about you at all. They just sold you for, booze money and whatever the heck else and probably died, 10 days later of an overdose or something. Who knows? It was really the worst thing. So I understand where they were going with that point, type of thing, is what is the worst thing she could hear, that would really even try to even tempt her to joining, Ben and stuff at that point in time. You've got nothing. You have no family. You have nothing else. Come with me. We'll bring you in, this type of stuff.
At least there wasn't a Death Star.
That's very true.
Well, there wasn't an Empire either.
Yeah, I know. There wasn't an Empire, but so there'll be one.
So if they did a Death Star, would you be more or less upset because it was different than Empire?
In this one?
Yeah, if they had a Death Star, it would have been different.
Because then I would have just said it was just like
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi or Star Wars.
I don't know. I felt it was original enough. They did take some little... I didn't think that there was even all that much from Empire. That is an interesting point, though, that you make. So with the whole...
There's a lot
chase. Of...
Well, I thought the first one had stuff from all the movies, and the second one has some stuff from all
the movies. The very end, I mean, it's like Hoth. Okay, it's salt instead of ice.
Yeah, but I don't know if I even thought it was that much about Hoth. I mean, it's a lot of planets and things of this nature, and they were trying to separate it more from a visually cool look. This whole white and on red. Type of stuff. I thought. I mean, I didn't think it had anything to do with really necessarily a whole Hoth type of thing.
They're in they're in a bunker, and the AT-AT walkers are coming at them. And they've got the trenches and the little turrets.
No, what do you think?
Like
I mean, type of thing.
That's called warfare.
It's called war.
I mean, that's what you do in a warfare. You got a ground battle.
It was a base they had set up there. I mean, I don't know.
You gotta. I mean, I get it. But come up with different ships. Come up with different...
There were different ships.
There were AT-ATs.
The things that the rebels were flying, those little dust crop
or
whatever.
So they weren't the
snow speeders.
The snow speeders.
Like I said, I feel like we can't make you happy.
Well, I don't need anybody.
But you still liked it though.
I still liked it. I thought I was really like when they did the whole when the cruiser blew up towards the end and everything went silent.
Oh, yes, that was a very good scene as well.
That was awesome.
Of course, the only problem I had with that is you just had 2 other ships that freaking got destroyed and whatnot. Why the hell didn't you do that damn thing before that happened? They could have at least taken out a Star Destroyer or something.
I mean, just visually, I thought it was really cool.
Oh yes, visually it was incredible.
Visually, it was awesome.
Yes, and the whole style and everything else that they did there. Yeah,
I really think I need to see it again. I mean, to be honest.
And to be honest, I think with most of these Star Wars films that they're doing, I enjoy more the second time around, mainly because of the fact that I think my anxiety is so pumped up, and adrenaline and things of this nature, that I'm wanting to see where it's going and stuff, and this type of things that I'm getting over anxious and not really taking it in all that well. And plus the fact of the whole nostalgia, of the other characters and things.
And like with The Force Awakens, I mean, when I saw it in the theater, I had the same, that I've seen this before, blah, blah, blah. But after I get past that and I bought the movie or watched it again, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think if I can just... It's just really frustrating that we waited this long to get Star Wars movies. And it's like we're just rehashing the same themes and the same movies. And it's like we're just redoing 30 years later the rise of the Empire and the rebellion fighting against them. You know what I mean?
But that's what Star Wars movies are.
Well, they don't. That's what 3, 4, and 5 were.
Yeah.
Or, 4, 5, and 6. So why do 7, 8, and 9 have to be the same as a Star Wars? Why can't you have a Star Wars movie with something completely different? And I think you might get that after you do these movies because
you're trying to set up a new set.
Yeah, they're transitioning.
I don't know. They kind of, like I said, they could have done something cool like the Thrawn trilogy, which once again wasn't super original, but at least it was like a continuation more. But you can't do that because all the actors were too damn old.
That's a good chunk of it. But the problem with the Thrawn trilogy, don't get me wrong, I love that trilogy, type stuff. But it is very much in the essence of 4, 5, and 6 there too.
Yeah, it
There's
is.
a
That's
lot
what
of
I'm
it.
saying. I mean, that's what Star
They have
Wars
a big
stuff
battle at
is.
the end, things of this nature. They
You
win the
keep
day.
saying that's what Star Wars is. That's what Star Wars is because we have 4, 5, and 6, and that's what Star Wars is. So why can't Star Wars be something different than 4, 5, and 6? Why can't it be all new characters? Make it 50 years later, and everybody just freaking died,
Okay.
and then you know what I mean, and then start new with that universe, with the Jedis, with the characters, introduce new characters. That's really what they should have done. They should have just gone farther into.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem that you're not thinking of. Is okay, so you do it 50 years later. Well, there's got to be some big threat to the galaxy, right? Like some kind of empire type threat. Because if you do anything smaller scale, it's we're just going to be some smugglers, and they get into it's going to be like Serenity. It's well, that's not really Star Wars. It's got to be this kind of empire-wide thing, right? And you got to have somebody fighting against it, right? And they got to be underdogs because if they're already on top, that's kind of boring. It's not a very interesting movie if the heroes are already winning, right?
I don't know.
I don't know how you do it any other way.
I don't know what else to do.
And make it feel like Star Wars.
Would be, Star Wars is, yes, of course, we grew up with it, so Star Wars is Luke and Obi-Wan. And
no, it's not even that. It's just Star Wars is a big empire, and they're fighting, and the rebels fighting against it.
I've always felt that Star Wars is good versus evil.
Well,
it's the dark versus
do
the
a
light,
flip-flop. Then have the rebels on the top at the beginning and show the Empire come back and rise.
Could be, but isn't that what 1, 2, and 3 was?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3.
Three,
The Jedi were in power.
Well, yeah.
So the Jedi had
I thought you
everything.
said 4, 5, and 6.
No, 1, 2, and 3.
Right, and then everything went to crap.
And then everything went to crap.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Okay, so we're done with Star Wars movies.
So
don't make any more Star Wars
And
movies.
the reason why Lucas
that's
was
why
not
Lucas
doing
said,
anything.
I made a story, 1
Then I'm
through
with
6.
Luke.
So,
1 through 6 was the story. He didn't. It was over. It was done. If you don't, it's that was my main problem with 7 when I saw it. I'm well, everything that happened in 6, they won. Now it's all been wiped out. Now they're back to square one.
And now we're back to square one.
That's
yeah,
right.
and I'm well, that's kind of lame. But at the same time, it's well, what else are they going to do? It's just going to be them being happy and the Empire's going great? Or, the rebellion or the whatever you want to call it is everything's going hunky-dory.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep trying to think of
Or you make it to where everything's hunky-dory, but then something's coming up, taking over, and then it'd be 1, 2, and 3. I don't know what you do.
Well, I think that they definitely have some ideas in there. Some of the things I thought of is, how Rian Johnson wrote that, where you have Luke basically trying to figure out what to do with Ben Solo, and you see a little bit in the flashbacks. To your point, did you really have to go as far as you did to this point? Why the hell couldn't you have started with, say, Luke training the galaxy, we're operating pretty well.
Sure.
All of a sudden, one of these guys going rogue on them and things like this, taking out a couple of others, stealing some, other Jedis and things. Could you have filmed that type of story to start yourself off? Would that have been original enough? Maybe. I don't know, depending on how they do it. But it's a very good point.
I don't think it would be as interesting. I don't think it would be I don't think it would be as the same scale. I think you have to have that scale, or it just doesn't feel like Star Wars to me.
It could be.
I got the whole with what I don't even know what they are, but the little things, the little furry things.
Porgs.
What?
Porgs. P-O-R-G.
You don't know what a porg is?
Well, I know what it is, but I didn't know its name.
You know its name?
That just felt like it was very forced into the movie to get the little kids involved, like the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi.
But Star Wars has always been that way. come on, you had Jar Jar before, you had Ewoks type things.
Ewoks.
You know,
right?
You had, I mean, even in the original Star Wars, you had the cantina and things of that nature. Now it's a little bit more down and dirty, I guess.
Right, but I mean, it was like very Disney, kid friendly.
Star Wars has always been kid friendly.
Yeah, but this really felt Disneyfied. Like Disney, like they just. It's almost like the when we talked about Wonder Woman and she had the cast of 3 friends or whatever for like comedy relief, you know. And it's like it was pointless for them to be there. They just threw it in.
Sure.
It's like these little things were like pointless. Like they were
comic
relief.
They were by far comic relief.
At least the Ewoks like were part of the story.
That's
like
true.
It was their planet,
Very true.
and they were trying to defend it. These things were just there for Chewbacca to eat, and then just to flop into the Millennium Falcon. So it's like baby on board or whatever. I mean,
very true. Very true. No, they're pure comic relief, and either you're gonna
and I don't
like
think
them or
it
hate
worked.
them. So.
I thought it worked great.
Really?
So,
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
You're a big Porg fan. Okay.
I don't know if I'm a big Porg fan, but I have the same thing. I have the same feelings for the Porgs as I do with like Jar Jar. I'm not a Jar Jar hater by any means. I'm not a fan of his either, but I understood what he was there for.
Yeah.
It was pure comic relief, purely for the kids and things of that nature. That's what the Porgs are. You know, quite frankly, I don't have an issue with that because it didn't take up that much time in the movie overall. My problem, probably more with the movie, was that I felt that they could have tried to do. It's too long.
I thought it was too long too.
Yeah, and I don't know really where you cut
I think it cut out some of that casino stuff.
I'm not a fan of that, but I've heard other people that like that because it was really showing the background and trying to build that relationship between Rose and Finn.
They
now, do we really need that?
rid of
I thought it was kind of clunky.
They could have got rid of the chase because that was pointless and stupid.
That's
that was the
probably
whole
true.
movie.
No, the chase
At
in
the
the
casino.
casino.
At the casino,
the backs
and it
of
went
those
on forever.
crazy
Yeah.
things. Yes, and tearing up the casino and everything.
That's
else.
what that's what I probably didn't like was the casino thing. It felt very episode 1 and 2-ish to me, where they're kind of
And it just seemed like watching it because so like the Empire ship is chasing the Rebel ship or the convoy or whatever, and they leave to go get this. Then to go, and I'm like, they don't have enough time.
But yet
to,
Ray
like, do
shows
all
up
of this.
in this freaking Falcon that shoots a pod right through, gets in there. Now, granted, they tractor beamed her in and everything else, and they captured her.
Like,
but,
the story just didn't make sense. It's like they don't have time to like go off to this planet and do this, and then come back, and then they've got to infiltrate the thing, and then download it or whatever, and do this. And I was just like, that's crazy. But anyway. I would give it like a 5. Like, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it.
5 out of 5.
I would give it a 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10.
Yeah.
I would just give it like it
Really
was
middle ground.
Wow, 5 out of 10.
okay to 6. Like, I didn't hate
Dude,
it.
give it whatever you want.
I'm just saying,
I'm not grade grubbing or anything.
when I watched it, like, I didn't.
You weren't blown away.
I wasn't blown away, and I wasn't.
But you
necessarily
didn't like come out
disappointed.
like,
it was just
oh,
kind of like
this
no.
is the worst film
I was
ever.
just like, okay,
Yeah.
I've seen all this.
It's the most fun I've had at the movies for a while. It's great. Enjoyed every second.
I admit, just seeing Luke Skywalker up there and some of that. For me, like every scene that he was on there with Rey and stuff, I thought was just gold.
I love the end where he shows up. I thought that was just great when he's like standing there and he kind of looks like he's ready to go, and I was like, wow,
the whole
get chills
hologram type thing going on.
As of before you knew it was a hologram, because I didn't know it was a hologram.
Oh, I had no flipping clue. They had me hook, line, and sinker on that.
So did he just decide he wanted to become one with the Force? Like,
Well, I think he
overextended himself.
He used too much. He stressed him. He fatigued himself to the point with that stunt that he died or whatever.
Yeah.
So he didn't do it on purpose.
No.
With the Force?
No.
Like Yoda. Like,
No.
Yoda
It killed him. The
to...
strain of doing that killed him. How about that?
Yeah.
He overstrained himself.
Okay.
Yeah. But I also, on the flip side, think that he, before he even did that, knew what was probably going to happen as well.
Everybody lost their shit because Yoda was a puppet and not a CGI.
I didn't like it. It looked funny to me.
You know, my wife said the same thing. Said it
I was
looked
like,
odd. I thought it looked just fine.
Why does Yoda look funny?
Everybody on
like,
Facebook and the internet were just like, oh my god, it was an actual puppet. It wasn't CGI. It's like, this is the greatest thing ever.
It looked horrible. It looked worse than the puppet in Empire.
Really? I didn't think he looked that bad at all, but I don't
The other thing,
I do admit the first time I seen that scene or had that scene, I was kind of like, really? You have to bring Yoda into this? Now, granted, the second time around that I watched it, I enjoyed that a whole lot more.
So like,
because Yoda was Yoda. So.
The whole thing with Princess Leia, or Lieutenant Commander Leia, whatever. Like
General
Leia.
They should have killed her when
they should have killed her.
Just
That would have been perfect because I was like,
whoa!
Shit, they
killed her
Leia,
like 15 minutes in. Holy crap!
I was like, oh my god!
Yes.
And then it's like she comes back to life out of the frozen depths of space because of the Force. I'm like, oh.
Yes, I know.
It was like metachlorians all over again.
I tell you what, my son
should have killed
While
her.
my son likes The Last Jedi, he thinks that scene is awful. He hates that part with Leia coming back into the ship.
Yeah.
So, and I can't say I was that impressed with that. I was like, really? You had something here, and then you did that. So Mary Poppins right back into the ship. So, but,
well, it's funny too because like even my kid picked up on it, but it's like in the last movie they killed Han Solo.
Yeah.
This one they killed Luke. They killed Luke.
So you know
the only one who's alive is the one character that's dead in real life. They can't play the character anymore.
Yeah. So what are they gonna do there? I don't know. They've got some extra scenes I think that they might throw in there, and do they kill her off screen?
Meanwhile, back at headquarters, Captain or General Leia had a heart attack and passed away.
And see, I don't know if they felt that it was just too late then to really change things up or what, overall, because of the fact that you had a whole year. Could you have done some reshoots and maybe decided, to kill her off in this one? You probably could. What had to happen? Luke, though, when they made the decision to kill Snoke in this movie, you knew that Luke had to die. Was the only problem, because you couldn't have had a Jedi Master and a Jedi Knight type of thing against Ben Solo, the emo kid, type thing. That, right there, it already looked like it was going to be to your point, the good versus evil type of thing, or whatever else. You had to have an adversary. Was this adversary going to really stand up against these two? No.
Someone I know, we were talking about it, and he was like, the perfect death for Leia would have been when Luke died. Because of the
twin connection.
The twin connection and the Force connection.
That's
that
true
would have
too.
Been other than her blowing up in the ship.
I've learned about Star Wars movies. No matter what they do, somebody's going to bitch.
Oh, that's very true. But that's because everybody is very opinionated when it comes to this.
We got a lot of people talking.
A lot of people like the Porgs.
May the Porgs like the Porgs.
May the Porgs be with you.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
It was already too sad. You can't kill her off. So, there you go.
They're listening and laughing. It's all good.
All right.
Yeah, if I hear them up there. Death to the Porgs. All Porgs must die.
Come on. Porgs are okay.
Let Chewie eat the Porgs. That was the best part.
Come on, you gotta say that was funny, though. When Porg is when Chewie's looking at those guys,
the best part was when he was eating the Porgs.
He didn't even eat one.
He didn't eat it.
What was he eating?
He was eating a porg.
Yeah, he was going to try to, but he couldn't eat it because they had the puppy dog eyes going on.
The best part would have been if he fed the porg to the porg.
Oh,
the porgs would have been porg cannibals.
Porg cannibals.
Whatever. Oh.
Alright, why don't you talk about comic book, Don?
Alright, well...
Was there anything else, though, that happened in these 2 weeks? I don't know. Any other movies?
I did see The Dark Tower last night.
I'm sorry.
That was bad.
I'm sorry.
It was like really poorly written.
Yeah.
Like I was just watching. I'm like, who's writing this dialogue? It is bad. Like it just felt like
the bad thing was I guess it was like I was mildly entertained, but
or a Cadillac or
Lincoln.
He was bad in that movie, wasn't he?
Yes.
Like it's like why does he look so cheesy? It just didn't work well at all. Nothing about it.
And essentially, Iris Elba, he was basically playing Heimdall but he had a gun instead of a sword.
I guess. I mean, I like Idris Elba.
Hated Dark Tower.
He's a great actor, but that movie was bad. And I went in. I'm like, well, I'm not expecting much. It's only 90 minutes.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
it was only 90 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm like, maybe
and it felt very short. But I'm thinking,
so maybe it'll be fine.
Took 7-8 books and condensed it into an hour and a half. Ooh. But I don't know. I haven't read any of the books, so is this?
I've read the books. It is fairly It has a lot of stuff. Like, you've read the books recently, right?
Well, I'm on the 4th one.
Oh, you're only on the never mind.
So did this like end like one of the books did, and that there's more to come, or did this end like the last book did? And
I don't even remember
it kind
how
of
it
ended. It's more like they took all 7 books and crammed into a 90-minute movie.
That's what I was afraid
and
of.
kind of reimagined it a little bit.
Yeah, that's
It's
what
like
I thought they
the
might have done.
whole with the kids working in the
Yeah, they had
dark.
all that.
They had all that. Have I not got to that?
Correct. That's like in 5 and 6 and 7. probably.
Okay, guys, that's the part that threw me. Like that, I didn't get that at all.
Oh yeah, that was all in the books. Because they're using their mind power to break the beams that come out from the Dark Tower, holding reality together.
Maybe the books are gonna start sucking later on. Then.
No, the books are good.
Oh, okay.
It's just 'cause
The Wolves of Cal is probably really good. It's a lot of action in that one. Have you got that one yet? You're on the...
No, I'm on the Wizard and the Glass.
Because Wolves of Cal is 5, and then, what is it, Song of Susanna is 6, and then Dark Tower is 7.
Probably, yeah, that sounds right. Because the Wizard and the Glass is 4, and that's all, right now, the first part of the book is all backstory.
That book is almost all backstory.
Okay.
Yeah, it's almost all about Roland growing up and all that stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they should have, if they were going to do Dark Tower, they should have done more than one movie, and they should have.
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean,
you had a ready-made freaking franchise right there. They could have done something with.
There were a few little things where they threw in a little tidbits where if you'd read the books or you were familiar with the books, like you would pick up on them. You know what I mean? Like there were little Easter egg type things. But I mean, there were scenes in the book that I really wanted to see, like in the movie.
Well, they completely ignored was it Eddie and Susanna?
Yes.
I mean, they completely ignored those characters, and they're like the central characters in the book. I mean, it's really a trio, right?
Yeah.
So it's like they made the first book with just him and Jake, and then extrapolated it over the whole series or whatever. Yeah, it's a bizarre. It's interesting weird. Creative choices they made there.
Very weird.
But I don't think those books would translate very well to film in the first place because they're just kind of weird anyway. There's so much going on. There's such a amalgam of like different genres and stuff. But
I think that would.
I just think a typical moviegoer, they either want like sci-fi or they want fantasy or they want horror, or they want supernatural, or they want western. They don't want it all mixed together like that. Those
sci-fi and fantasy, it's all the same, and then you just throw in western that goes with it.
Yeah, I just don't think...
there's not really horror to it. It's sci-fi, western, and fantasy.
There kind of is. I mean, there's kind of like a supernatural element.
That's all the same, though, but that's not horror. It's not a horror book.
I understand that, but there's horror elements. There's like some monsters, and you know what I mean? I don't know. It's got a lot of...
Monstrosities?
Sure, yes, the monstrosities. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I kind of get it. I don't know.
But it was bad.
It
was really bad.
All on it.
So yeah, I saw that.
I saw Valerian in the City of
I haven't seen that. Is it worth watching? I heard there's no story, but visually it's cool.
Oh, visually it's excellent. It's incredible. I don't know. I think that there's kind of a story there. I've been telling people if they like The Fifth Element, I believe that they'd like this one. It's kind of that off-the-wall type of thing. The main characters are the greatest? I don't know. They're a little bit harder to seem to relate to, but for something that's original and things from a sci-fi slant, I liked it. Definitely give it a shot.
Cool. Yeah, I'd like to sit through it. Yeah. So I just
the visuals.
I don't have
alone,
much expectations.
Yeah, visuals alone are worth a watch anyway. Storyline, it's another one in which it probably goes a little longer than it probably needs to for where it's trying to go. You can kind of figure that out, I think.
Sure.
But overall, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
What else did I see?
Just to irritate Christy, I'm going to stick up for the Dark Tower and say it was the best movie ever. I enjoyed it. It was much better than Cats. I will see it again and again.
I did see The Greatest Showman.
Oh, how was The Greatest Showman?
Yeah, it's okay.
It's a new Hugh Jackman musical.
Movie with Hugh Jackman and Zac Efron and
stuff. The big cop circus thing.
The
P.T. Barnum and Bailey, whatever.
Yeah. Gotcha. I mean, it's like any of those type of things. I thought as musicals go, I didn't think it was that bad because of the fact that the music I thought was good, and it's not a ton of music. for that type of
That's
stuff.
why I was curious, because the trailer makes it look like there's quite a bit of like speaking story.
Yeah.
Is it like a typical musical where there's like music number after music number after music
I didn't
number?
feel that way.
Like
I mean,
maybe
not
it
just
had a
one
little
on top
more.
of another on top of another. No.
So how many musical numbers are in the whole thing? Like 5?
I think
8?
it's like about 8. Yeah,
Like 8.
About somewhere.
So it's not like
there.
Into the Woods where it's like all single.
Oh yeah, no. I that's what I was expecting, and it was not. So,
Okay.
and I felt like most of the music choices made a little bit more sense. I mean, because of the fact that they're
That's still a lot
entertainers.
though, 8
So-
musical numbers.
Yeah, there is.
I mean, 5 minutes per musical number, that's still 40 minutes of music
So
in a
it could
2-hour
be.
movie.
Yeah,
So that's not
I don't
too
know.
bad.
I didn't think it was as. It was less than what I guess I was expecting.
Would you say half
but
music? Half?
There you go. That's
not
probably
music?
about
Okay,
there.
about half.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
You might be able to sit
that's
through
probably
that.
about right. So. Yeah, I mean it's.
It sure looks like a lot of music. Yeah, Scott, give us the exact number.
Somewhere around in there.
He,
Overall,
he
though,
didn't count them.
I felt that was entertaining. So,
He probably did count them, he just won't tell me now. Cool.
but yeah.
I saw Pitch Perfect 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Is it
I
long?
have Movie Pass.
Is it
Yeah.
long?
Oh, that's true. That's true. Greatest Showman?
Yeah.
No, it's I don't think
2
it's that
hours.
long. Yeah, just right around 2 hours.
2
Pitch
hours.
Perfect's only 90 minutes.
Really?
Pitch Perfect 3. is
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah.
those are
See?
90 minutes. Those are quick ones. Now, I do admit I did really
Actually,
like the
I
first
liked
Pitch
the first
Perfect.
one.
Yeah.
First one's good.
But I
Second
did
one
not
was
expect
horrible.
that one. I did not know what the hell I
The
was in
third
for.
one is just more of the same.
Is it just more? Yeah.
Just more of the
It
same.
was so funny because, like, for years, everybody at work was like, "Oh, it's the funniest movie ever." They're like, "Have you seen it?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not a high school girl or
Yeah.
whatever, you know." And then I actually sat down and watched it.
And you were a high school girl?
I was a high school girl. It was funny. I liked the first one. I don't
First one
think
was
I've
good.
seen the second one.
It's not worth seeing.
I
the
think I've
third
seen
one's
bits and
okay.
pieces of the second one.
Yeah.
I've
It
sat all
wasn't
the
very
way through
good.
it.
It was a bit of a letdown.
Yeah,
Because the
the
first
sec-
one was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah.
The first one was funny. The second one, yeah, not so much.
But yeah.
I mean, it was okay, but
It did.
talk about just not being really original. I mean, they just basically took the first movie and tried to.
I
do it
tried to
over
watch
again.
Yeah, but,
Right.
but that's Pitch Perfect. It's not
true.
Star Wars. I expect that from Pitch Perfect. I don't expect that from Star Wars.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So like we
I tried
got
to see
cut.
Jumanji. Sorry, but it was sold out. So,
Oh.
anyway, you got what?
Jumanji was sold out.
It was. It
Oh
was.
my God.
Wow.
So we got caught up on Lucifer, the TV show.
Oh wow.
Somebody watches it?
I do. It's,
Wow.
It's good.
No,
but,
it's not.
Really?
Okay. Shut up. It's good.
It's not good.
Whatever.
Huh.
It is good.
It's not good.
Anyway, so I'm sitting there. We were watching it either last night or the night before, and it just hit me. Like it should have hit me a while ago, but it really just hit me. I'm like, this is Lucifer. It's on Fox. Disney just bought Fox, right?
Okay.
They
So
did.
now Lucifer is a DC character.
Mm-hmm.
So now Disney, which owns Marvel,
It's starting to get a piece of DC.
is starting to get a piece of DC, although it's like
This little bitty
0.001%. But still, I'm like, that's kind of weird now because now Disney will have a DC character.
That is weird.
Yeah,
Not that weird.
Maybe
I
they
mean,
could-
Sony owns Spider-Man for movies.
very true, and they still do.
Okay. But that's not that's not like
Not the
Marvel owning
competition.
DC.
Okay.
That is true.
That's true.
It's not direct competition there.
Anyway, just kind of weird.
Huh.
Okay. So
don't
I
know.
read Head Lopper, which Drew read 2 weeks ago.
Head
Wow.
lopper.
By-
Do lots of heads get lopped?
By Andrew. A lot of heads get lopped. That's like his go-to move. He just
Right.
lops heads.
He is the head lopper.
Andrew McLean with Mike Spicer. Does Mike Spicer do the colors?
I think so.
Okay.
'cause
Anyway, I love that book. This
It's
book
pretty good, right?
is awesome. Do you get like a Mignola vibe?
Yeah, Andrew McLean. He's kind of got that whole Mignola kind of minimalistic kind of.
But it's
Yeah.
more cartoony.
More
than, like,
cartoony than Mignola. Yeah, it's not really like Mignola, but it does have a similar
It's
vibe.
very kind of Mignola stylistic.
Yeah, I
like-
agree with that.
Like I couldn't put my finger on it. Like
But
the
it's
whole time
different.
I was
It's-
reading it, it's
yeah.
different, but it's kind of got. But that book is awesome. Like that's probably one of my favorite
Really?
things I've read. It's just fun. Like it's there's a kingdom, and it's a dark, cursed kingdom, and what's his name?
The head lopper.
I know, but he has a name.
Like Norgal or something?
Norgal, because everybody calls him
right?
Headlopper. I think so. Because everybody calls him Headlopper, right. And then he's like, no, it's Norgal.
Norgal, yeah.
But
I actually got it.
So, like, you know, he comes in town, and there's, like, the bad guy is trying to take over the kingdom, and he gets hired to go take out the bad guys. So, it's not like anything super original, but it's fun. I mean, it's a fun fantasy kind of story. And the art is awesome. It's funny. I love the head. The head that he carries around with the witch.
Yeah, it's got kind of a... What was the Mike Mignola story where he had the corpse that he was carrying around the whole time?
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
But the head's very obnoxious.
So he's carrying the witch head on the cover. And so, like, I guess he's, like, killed this witch. But
he has to carry the head around.
He carries the head around, and the witch still thinks she's alive. She's always like...
Trying to eat stuff?
Yeah, she's like, feed me. And he's like, why would I feed you? It would just come out your whatever.
Your neck.
Out your neck. You can't even eat anything.
But I'm so hungry.
There's that one scene where
she's talking to the skull?
She's talking to the skull.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
Like, so he sets her down at, like, this counter, and there's, like, a skull there. And so she assumes the skull can talk to her. So she's having this whole one-sided conversation with the skull. And it's like, why aren't you talking? You know,
the skull just stares. Like, oh my god, your eyes are gone. They ate your eyes. It's just a skull.
But I was trying to figure out, why is he carrying the head around? But I guess the witch head has, like, powers if it falls into the wrong hands. Like,
okay. Well, he uses it.
Yeah, he uses it.
He uses her.
But isn't that the whole story? Is they're trying to get the witch head from him? Isn't that where they're trying to lure him into that place to try and get the witch head from him?
But yeah, it's fun. I mean, he constantly chops people's heads off. There's a lot of head lopping going on.
That's
a lot
good.
of decapitation. It's bloody, but it's not like it's cartoony.
Yeah, it's very cartoony.
But I don't know. I mean, I would say it's almost kind of like an all.
It's not all ages.
It's an all ages book. Everybody should run out and get this book.
Get it for your kids.
Get it for your
I think
kids.
There's even some bad language in
They
there.
won't have terror, nightmares or anything. But no, I just thought it was fun. It's not really different, but it's like a fresh take on like something that we've probably seen before. And I don't know, I really kind of got a Mignola vibe.
I got a Mignola vibe.
It's almost like if Mignola...
See, look, he's chopping a head off a monster, so let your kids read it.
It's all cartoony. It's like itchy and scratchy.
Yeah. It's almost like I get like a Mignola meets Stocco vibe kind of.
Yeah,
sort of.
I agree. Because he's definitely got a lot more rendering than Mignola does. Like, he's got a lot of line.
It's like
line
if
work.
Mignola and Stocco had a baby, it would be
Right.
Lopper. It would be Andrew McLean.
Because, I mean, he kind of uses really... he kind of does the same kind of shapes as, like, Mignola, but then he's got a lot of extra
Oh, yeah, that was
hatching
hilarious
and...
with the Giants, the fight with the
Oh,
Giants.
yeah, the fight with the Giants.
So, anyway, if nobody's read Headlopper and you're looking, it's really good. It's a really thick book. It's only like you think it said it's only like 4 issues.
Yeah, because the issues are oversized. It's a $20 book, but it's...
But no, it's like probably 200 pages.
Yeah, so like the issues are like bigger, like actually
right. They're
like
oversized, like big in size,
and thicker, I believe,
and bigger in page count.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it was good. It said in the back like there was a next one coming, but I thought it said like 2017 or something.
Yeah, so I think the last issue of the second series just came out or whatever.
Oh,
there
really?
should be another trade coming.
Oh, okay.
Really? I was pretty late on this. Like, I didn't order the trade when it was released. I like waited like a year to get it.
Gotcha.
So,
but yeah, I loved it.
But the Andrew McLean was at Kansas City Comic-Con not last year, but the year before that, and he had this book he did for Dark Horse called Apocalyptic Girl.
Yeah.
And I bought that from him at the show and checked it out, and it was really good.
Do you have that?
Yeah, I have it.
Oh, cool. I want to read that.
I'll have to find it for you. But yeah, it's pretty good. But yeah, same kind of stuff. I mean, well, that's obviously more sci-fi-ish or whatever, but this is more fantasy. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah, he was at C2E2 this year in 2017, but I tried to get over there a couple times because I knew of Headlopper, but I hadn't read any of it, and I just wanted to meet him and buy some stuff. But man, his table was swamped. Like every time I went over
at
there.
Kansas City Comic Con, there was nobody there.
Yeah,
I just walked right up and had a conversation.
I'm sure.
It was so funny because it was, ironically, they had their Comic Con the same weekend as Boston Comic Con. And I was talking to him as I was buying his book. His wife was there, I think. It must be his wife. Some girl was with him, his significant other. They're married or not, I don't know. But I think it's his wife. Anyway, she was there. I was like, so where are you guys? And he was like sketching, and I was buying the book. And I was like, so where are you guys from? And they're like, Boston.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but Boston Comic Con is this weekend. And they're like, you guys didn't go to the hometown show and you came here, and they're like, yeah, they wanted us down here. We thought it'd be fun to do something different. Blah blah blah. It's like, cool. Well, more power to you.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was funny.
But anyway,
They all know him there anyway, so
What's that? That's true. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's fun to go somewhere where everybody doesn't know you. So, anyway, Headlopper.
Nathan Hale's watching.
I don't know who Nathan Hill is.
Isn't that Matt's friend? Nathan?
Nathan Huey. Oh, that. No.
Oh, Huey. Oh. Who's Nathan? The guy that wrote the book. The Knicks.
The Knicks. That is Nathan.
Yeah.
Yes. What's his last name?
Now I'm having a brain.
I thought that's who that was.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry about that. Big Faux Pop, this is yours. You can keep it.
Oh, sweet. I can keep it?
Yeah, you can, unless you want to let me have it, I'll take it.
Yeah.
You liked it so much, huh?
It was good. I mean, it was fun. It was great. I really liked it.
You may not have it.
One of the best things I've read this year.
Wow.
I know we're not doing a year-end review.
That's true. We should do one, but
wow.
I had no idea how
I
to do
can't
it.
even remember what I read.
Exactly. Me too. So Headlopper, it's like in the top 5 this year. It's in the top 5 of this month. How about that?
So first, Lock and Key's number 1 still, right?
Lock and Key is probably number 1. And then
It's like your
Headlopper.
best of the decade, right?
Yeah.
Lock and Key
It's
was
the best of the
pretty good.
I really don't have much to
It's
talk
the
about.
best since Watchmen.
What?
Wow. That's a bold
That's a pretty
statement.
bold statement. Jeez.
Alright, so what else? Oh, you do
Not
some
really.
Don't think so? Because
Nah.
how much stuff really came out since Watchmen?
You're not.
Did Dark
Not
Knight?
bad.
Dark Knight.
They came out at the same time.
Same time.
Was that the same year even?
Yeah, that's why it's like the greatest year in comics
Holy
ever.
crap.
'Cause
Yeah.
Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen came out like the same year.
I read a bunch of issues of Birthright. I'm not even entirely sure how far. And in fact, I think I have these backwards. Probably that's probably the last issue I have. But there's this big giant sticker. That's
Darn
like this,
stickers. Why are they doing
so-
that?
Yeah, so I read from like issue 12 or issue 11 through 25. It appears. Look at that cover art though. Isn't that cool?
I really like that guy's art. I was trying to buy some of his art off of him, and all he had was like art from like the first like 2 issues on
Your wife's
his
even
art page.
listening,
Yeah.
Scott.
And
Yes,
then I
yes.
messaged him on Facebook, and he's like, "Well, what pages do you want? I'll send them to my art dealer." And I told him the pages I wanted, and then he never sent them to his art dealer. They never updated their website.
Wow.
So right, sad story.
How
The sticker's not
disappointing.
coming off.
What'd you say?
I wouldn't do that.
You
Yeah.
were gonna buy a Birthright page?
Yeah, but they only had stuff from like the first couple issues,
Um,
and there's some other.
Yeah, but see.
So he said,
I
"Well,
just
what?"
really
So I
love it there,
messaged the
so-
guy on Facebook, and he said, "Well, I have to send some stuff to my art dealer. Which pages are you interested in?" So I sent him like a list of like 10 pages that I would be interested in,
mhm.
and then he never sent them. That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah. That's because he's got more important things to do.
Oh, look at this Trad Moore cover.
Nice.
Right, I think that's Trad Moore, isn't
I don't know.
I don't know.
I hope so, since I agreed with you.
it? Sucker. All right, so last time you read Birthright, you were like, I don't know, who I'm going to root for. This character is irredeemable. He's kind of a jerk. I don't
Very
know.
true. Very true.
So how do you feel now?
I still think the main character is a bit on the. I don't know about irredeemable, but he's still very hard to relate to with a lot of that type of stuff. But I feel like on the flip side that they've started building up a lot of the other characters a little better, and things
Like the
kind of
brother.
fleshing out that
Yeah.
type of stuff. Yes, the brother has a bit more of a role.
Uh-huh.
I've really enjoyed the twist. I think that comes in there somewhere in that point, because at this point in time, the main guy. Have you read Birthright at all?
Yeah, he's
Okay, so you're up there with it. Okay, so
he's probably way behind, but he'll
I'm
forget
way
everything
behind,
you say.
but
about this
you're
story.
way behind. But anyway, okay, so the overall idea that the one guy, got captured as a kid. He's trying to help out this freaking faraway land or whatever the hell else. He basically backstabs that whole land so he can come back here. And now he's trying to kill off these mages for the big bad guy,
Right.
type thing. So he killed off one of them at the end of like the first 10 of them, type stuff. He still has 4 mages to kill, or
off,
wizards
yeah.
or whatever you want to call them. Okay. So as he's trying to get to the next one, and stuff, and find out, he gets to that person and he just kind of loses, basically in this battle and stuff. He's already kind of badly beaten though and stuff from other crap going on. He's still having these problems with the whole, what do they call it? Nevermind that's attached to
that's
him.
attached to
so
him. Some demons.
so
Yeah.
our main character Mikey, there and stuff. So, but the thing is, what I found as a cool little twist is the fact that it turns out that one of the mages is actually Mikey's grandfather. So, and
I don't know if I got there.
For me personally, I didn't exactly see that one coming. It makes a bit more sense in there, and then the whole dynamic I think that's going on there was rather interesting because, of course, Mikey's father had a horrible relationship with his dad, type thing, and his dad was pretty much more on didn't care as much about family as he was, hey, how do I kind of overall keep the earth protected from the other side, I think, in some cases, and make as much money as I can. I don't know. He was collecting all these artifacts for what means, I have no idea.
Sure.
Yet. But the whole thing is this is a little bit more focused, I felt like, on this battle that they wanted to I don't know, establish, I guess, between the mages that used to be the protectors of this other realm and then all left, and then they needed to have the promised boy, come along and help them out. So I don't know where they're really building with this, which makes it good. I don't know where it's going. The only complaint I probably even have now at this point is I'm feeling like, for as much as they're throwing in there, which is good, and there's a lot of backstory, it almost moves almost too slow. Does that sound right?
Well, I'm a little worried that are they going to be able to finish the story because they're like taking so much time. It's like, are the sales going to go down and they're going to have to rush at the end to wrap it up?
Exactly right.
That's always the fear of like a monthly comic book because I mean, you can only keep it going so long unless it's like Walking Dead or Saga or something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, you usually have a degradation of sales, and so it's like, well, you gotta like be able to get your in game fairly quickly if it starts to become unprofitable or something.
Yeah.
And,
well, and I think that was the thing, was like reading through this, you gave me 15 issues or something. I mean, at the end of issue 10 or somewhere around there, 9 or 10, Mikey's girlfriend with the wings comes, to Earth. And I mean, we went through at least another dozen issues, before they even meet up, and see each other. In fact, I'm not even sure that they do.
No, they do.
Yeah, so somewhere in there, I thought they did.
Yeah, they did. They're all together now because they're on the train now. Did you get to that point where they're on the train and he's trying to separate Mikey from the Nevermind, and there's like some operatives coming to chase him down or something?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know they were trying to separate him, but then
I think it left you in the middle of an arc.
So they basically kind of say, no, we can't do that. He's got to stay with the Nevermind for now, and things, and basically they're all these mages were basically fighting, type stuff. So I like it. I probably even enjoy it a bit more now than I did with the 10 episode or the 10 issues there at first. So I think it's more though the overall story. They have something that's very, I feel it. Okay, you're trying to take a bit of a nostalgia factor, things of that nature of the whole fantasy type of troops that we've heard, and things, and trying to twist it around to be an original idea, but with that certain nostalgia factor built in, So I really like it. I do think it's a very good book there. I just wish they maybe would hit these plot points a little faster. Yeah.
It's very Williamson. What's that guy's name? The writer?
Yeah.
What's his first name? I can't remember.
I don't know. I'm pretty bad with it.
I'm not having any names right now, so if you ask me,
he did that. I think Scott would like that book. I can't think of the name of it though. The one with the town of serial killers.
Yeah.
That's Joshua Williamson.
Bedlam?
No, not Bedlam. Joshua Williamson did it. They did like 30 issues.
Was it Bedlam? No, it's the other one. It was Nailbiter.
Nailbiter. I think Scott would like Nailbiter.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of horror. Otherwise,
it's
I would
the same. It's the same writer. And you kind of get the same kind of. I kind of get the same. You can kind of tell the writing style storytelling.
Yeah.
I
wish they'd show us more of like the backstory, like in the old world. Like I really like those scenes, but it seems like they're pretty sparse as far as cases. I think in the last one they're starting to, when he's trying to separate him from that Nevermind, they're starting to have flashbacks to when he actually confronted Lore or whatever.
He does, but I mean, I think that's part of the problem is it's very teasing, type stuff. They never spend. I mean, the biggest one that you have is there's one in which it talks a little bit more about the winged girl, and type stuff. And I think the whole issue is basically about her, and it's got a lot more flashbacks, in which they can do. But you still, almost at the end of it, still don't get a feel of what the hell happened, that made this guy turn. And it's okay to carry that mystery out, for a while. It's just that I think part of their problem is that when they go to hits something, you're right. You have this one little mystery or whatever else. He's fighting the Nevermind and this one, mage and figuring out this thing with his grandfather and stuff. And that's taking up a whole arc, of 6 issues where they never even leave, like this little bitty compound. And I know they only have so many pages to play with, but it just seemed like you could have maybe moved that along to try to get to this point, because can sometimes be a little bit frustrating with just those little drops. They make this mention of the mages and what they did. They were there and they had to leave because they felt that they could never win the battle.
Yeah.
Okay, well, give us a little bit more, on something there, and
Sure.
just this flashback. And obviously, I think also something's going on there in which the big bad guy was like Mikey. I don't know, because they show a reference of what the Lord, whatever the hell his name was.
Yeah.
Lore, okay. What he looked like pre being the bad guy, and he looks just like Mikey.
Yeah. So maybe he was another kid who was snatched and became that or something.
Or hell, are they all related? Is it the great grandfather or something like this? Who knows?
Who knows?
So where they're going with it, but
yeah.
They're dropping hints, but you're right, to the point of what the heck was going on in that fantasy realm a little bit. They don't really do too much there. They'll throw these little stories here and there, but it feels like whatever stories they throw in that really don't mean much to the whole,
correct.
To where they're trying to go, sometimes too.
Yeah.
But
I agree with that.
So
that makes sense.
But it's still very good. So
It's a good book.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
I read the latest issue of Kill or Be Killed.
Oh.
Issue 14.
Boy.
That looks just like the last cover.
It does.
They all look very, very similar.
It's a dude in a red
With the shotgun.
Yeah.
This was a good issue. So we get back to the beginning, and we see him basically back to the very first issue. And I think you described pretty well last episode how he's taken down this Russian mob. He kind of pulls that full circle or whatever, like he finally kind of finishes that sort of chapter. It's kind of funny. He's a pretty smart guy,
Yeah.
He has, as like a vigilante, he pulls some pretty good tricks or whatever. But this one's pretty good. I like it because he starts to kind of stand up for himself. Like he's living with that roommate guy, and the girl he's seeing, his roommate used to see, and his roommate's he's like, yeah, it'd be nice if you want to bring her around here,
I read this one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And he's like, screw you, I'll bring her here whenever I want. And he kind of says, I just kind of came over this thing where I just felt like I wasn't gonna let this guy push me around or walk over me or whatever, And he I thought it was just a very interesting scene. This book always, every time you think it's gonna go left, it goes right. You know what I mean? I think that's what makes it so good.
Is that the one where he shows up at the mansion?
I thought that was the one. Yeah, he shows the mansion, takes out the Russian mob, dude or whatever.
And he's like, yeah.
So I read this one. Okay.
Yeah, because he's like, you'd
Yeah,
think
cool.
it would be hard to break into a mobster's mansion. He's
But he veered everybody off. He acted like he was hitting their safe houses.
right.
So they all
But I
away.
mean, when he actually gets the thing, he's like, they don't even turn their security system on. They think they're fine.
Yeah, exactly.
He just walks in the door.
That's right. I think you remember you
And so we've kind of come full circle. He's taken out the Russian mob. He's the police are mostly off his trail, I think, for the most part.
That's crazy. I remember that I read it, and you don't remember that I read it.
Correct.
That's
And
weird.
so, but then at the end, there's a whole other twist,
Yeah.
He's like, she's like, did you know that your brother, killed himself or something or whatever? And he was having delusions of this demon? He's like, what?
Yeah.
And then he looks at his girlfriend and she's like,
She looks
he's
like
like,
the demon.
and he's seeing the demon. He's like, So I just don't know where it's going. Is he crazy? Is he not crazy? How much is delusional? I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter at one point. I mean, he's doing what he's doing, whatever's driving him to do it, But I don't know. Best of the years, I think Kill or Be Killed. Kill or Be Killed is one of my top 5 of
That's
the year.
pretty good.
It's definitely my favorite Brubaker Phillips series, and that's saying a lot because their stuff is.
I'm gonna
generally
go
really
with
good.
X-Men Blue.
As your
X-Men Blue
top 5?
is in my top 5. It's gonna
Really?
be 3 or 4.
You like that book?
Nah, I don't know. I just
Oh.
wanted to pick.
Okay.
You just want to pick
I just
something?
wanted to pick something.
It's the end of
Well,
the year.
here's
so
a
I
question
pick
for you
something.
since you read Batman, right? You're reading Dark Metal and Batman and all that stuff, right?
I've been buying Dark Metal.
Oh,
I haven't
okay.
read an issue of it
Oh, you
yet,
haven't,
but
okay.
I have them all.
So, a lot of I know Batman sells really well. Even now that Snyder's off and Tom King took over, and so Batman's on everybody's top 5 list. Is Batman really that good since Snyder and Capullo left?
The beginning of King, like I remember, like when he took over, that's when they rebooted it, right?
Uh-huh.
I really dug like the first 10 to 12 issues. Like
Yeah.
I can recall like the story, like what happened, and I thought it was cool, but I'm not caught up on it at all. So
Okay.
I mean,
So it's really that good? Like it's like Batman is really this awesome right now?
I mean,
Or is it just Batman?
it's
I mean,
cool Batman.
okay.
Like it could be Snyder. Like it could still like it didn't, like when he stopped, it didn't go like down
didn't
the
take a drop.
crapper,
Yeah.
and it didn't really like raise the bar. It just kind of, to me, it just kind of stayed the same. Like
Okay.
it has cool concepts, but it's not like Dark Knight.
Sure.
It's not like, oh my god, this is Dark Knight.
This is
But
the best Batman ever. Because I've read a
But I
lot
think
of
it's-
really good
I
Batman
think
over
it's-
the years.
It's held.
Yeah.
It didn't drop and it didn't raise. It just
Oh.
kind of held. Like he's filling Snyder's footsteps.
Cool.
Like that would be my opinion, but
Cool.
I'm usually wrong. So.
No, I'm just curious. I haven't read.
But I'm way behind on everything.
Well, I didn't even finish Snyder's one.
And Batman ships like twice a month, I think.
Sure,
So I probably
sure.
have like 50 issues of Batman to read.
Yeah. Right.
But I could segue into Crazy People.
Crazy people. It's all about crazy people too.
Oh yeah.
So I finally finished. I'd read like up to 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 issues.
You hadn't
of
finished
Midnight.
it?
No, I hadn't finished it.
Wow, what a loser.
Yeah, I know. I got behind. And
Cool.
so then you had it bound, so I'm like, I'll just read it all together.
So much easier than pulling out your issues,
It
right?
is. It's so much easier. This was good. I liked it. I mean, obviously I like Lemire and I like Smallwood and
Stokoe.
I like Stokoe. Francovilla's cool. Who's the other guy? I don't remember. There was another guy.
It's the Torres, right?
Torres, yeah.
Wilfredo Torres. Yeah.
Wilfredo
Sure.
Torres.
We'll go
Anyway,
with
it was cool. I mean, it was a cool Moon Knight story.
that. Yeah,
I
and
mean,
there
I
aren't that
see
many
what
cool
they're-
Moon Knight stories.
No,
The art
especially.
is so fantastic.
Oh yeah, especially that Bendis crap that I went off on.
Oh yeah, that was pretty bad.
That was bad.
Was that when he was in California and he was like doing
Yeah.
all the super?
Yeah, the one where I came in and ranted on the podcast about the first issue. For
What was
like
that, 10
30
years ago?
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 10 years ago. But
Okay, I don't remember.
anyway, and I haven't ever read the early stuff, the Munch and the Sienkiewicz stuff.
I
Like,
tried to
I've
read some of it.
never
It's
read
very
it.
70s. It doesn't hold up very well.
But no, this was good. I mean, and I got to the end, and Lemire and Smallwood, they give their little, and
It feels like it's
and
just getting started.
Jordy Belair. Well, no, I mean, I think it might have been Smallwood that said we set out to tell like a Moon Knight origin or backstory or
Yeah.
whatever, and that's what we did.
Cool.
And I mean, yeah, it was really cool. It was like any kind of Moon Knight book, I guess. There towards the middle, I couldn't really tell what the hell was going on. It was almost like that.
Yeah, we don't know
Killer Be
what's
Killed,
real.
where you don't know what's
know-
real. You don't know if the guy's actually crazy and it's all in his head, or if
Which
it's
is really
actually
what they're
happening.
after there.
Right.
You know, is trying to get you as
Yeah.
lost as
Well,
he is.
Right, and then at the end, I mean, he kind of he gets rid of all that stuff, and he's like, I'm gonna be whoever now, like whichever.
Are you
guy
buying
he
the new
ends up
Moon Knight
being.
book?
No.
What if it picks up from here? If it's
I
totally
don't
just
think it is
reboots
because
it?
they renumbered it, which is weird because I really like the guy that's doing. Who's the artist on
It's
it?
the guy you like, the
Yeah.
guy who did all the Warren Ellis books, like the Stranger Kisses.
Right. No, that's Mike Wolfer.
It is Michael first.
No, it's not Mike Wolfer.
It's some other guy.
Yeah, it is another guy, and I almost thought about buying it just because of the artist, because I do like that guy, even though I can't remember who he is now.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not buying that. But no, this was a cool. It's like 15 issues, but it is pretty much just a standalone story. I mean, it starts
Yeah,
and
correct.
it has an ending. So I mean,
I think Lemire said he was going to do like 12 issues, and he ended up doing like 14.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
the story
there
grew
was-
or whatever.
yeah, there was some of that in there too
But,
about how they.
I thought it was.
expanded
I thought it was a really good Moon Knight story. I like Lemire. I like Smallwood, obviously.
Right.
So it worked pretty well for me.
Yeah, I really did like the how it went back to when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And he was like had his imaginary friends, and he kept meeting all these people, and then they became characters or whatever. And
Sure.
the toys and the space guy, and I really liked the just not just well mainly because it was the Stokoe art, but the whole character with with the wolf virus or whatever, where all the Earthlings fled to the moon, and then that Captain Wolf or whatever raids the moon base and takes over. I really like that.
Was really cool.
I really liked that character. I thought it was really cool. Kind of twist on Moon Knight or whatever.
Oh yeah,
but,
that was good.
Yeah, it was definitely a good 15-issue book or whatever.
I felt it was well written for what they were going after there and stuff. I think for me, it just was so hard to connect with that book, type stuff. And I think that is part of what they're trying to go for,
right?
To be as lost as that, but as a reader, it's just like, yeah, this is
right.
a little bit more.
And there were even parts of it where I was, because
over
I'm not
my head and whatever the heck else, and just all over the place. It's just kind of like
right.
It's a good read because it's good writing and whatever else, but I can just tell for me, it's probably not something that
right. And I'm not a huge Moon Knight fan either. Like I don't have a huge history with the character. Like I haven't read the character forever and ever, and know everything about Moon Knight. But I got a little bit well, what the hell? You know what I mean? Like, I got a little lost in it, too. But I think you were kind of supposed to get a little lost.
Yeah, I think that was the intent.
No, yeah, I'm sure it was.
But, no, I enjoyed it.
I just don't know if that's what I want when I'm reading something.
It's not like when I walked out of Lost Highway and went,
I don't know what I just watched.
What the fuck did I just watch?
Right.
I mean, I kind of understood what I read. I mean, so, anyway. It's good. If you haven't read it and you're a fan of Lemire and or Greg Smallwood, I mean, yeah, you should definitely check it out. Even if you're not a Moon Knight fan, it's a really cool kind of.
Yeah, because I'm not a Moon fan, but I'm not a Moon Knight fan, but I'm a Smallwood and Lemire fan. I really felt like they did.
Moon. That keeps our tides
right. But I really felt they did a good job with the Moon Knight story, and they did something a little different, and it just felt unique. And they both kind of brought their A game.
It's what Marvel needs.
Some unique voices?
Yes.
Yes, they do. Cause
they need more books like Moon Knight and less books like Squirrel Girl and Gwen.
What? I think Squirrel Girl and Gwenpool are fine. I think they need less, just more. I don't know how many X-Men Blue.
We don't
X-Men
need
Gold.
X-Men. Well, now they have the new one, the X-Men Red.
How many X-Men?
Yeah, I don't know how many X-Men books we need.
Maybe
fewer of those.
Well, we need 3 at least.
But I think
we need the blue, the gold, and the red.
I don't appreciate your knocking the Squirrel Girl, because I think that hits a demographic that we need to hit. You know what I mean? We need books.
It's just not my book.
It's not. Yeah, it doesn't have to be, but I think they need a wide swath of books. What's that?
Between girls?
Yeah, I think I don't read that, but
she needs braces.
But you know what I mean. I mean, I think it's good to have comics that everybody likes. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. I get it.
And so I don't think those books are the problem. I think the books that we have too many of the books that are aimed at us that aren't very good. I think that's the real issue. There's too many books that are aimed at the 40-year-old people who grew up reading superheroes that just are not that good quality.
Right.
I mean, I think we need less of that.
Well, it's you think about it, if Power Pack #1 came out today, would you read Power Pack and love Power Pack the way you did when it came out when you were 12 or however old you were when it came out?
No.
Okay.
Why would I?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
No.
But if you picked up an X-Men book right now, would you still be blown away by it like you were before?
No. What do you mean now?
I don't.
40?
Yeah.
Oh, I doubt it.
So that I'm feeding into your theory that they need stuff that's gonna bring kids in, like Power Pack. I probably wouldn't have read Power Pack.
Power Pack was awesome when I was a kid, because that was one of the first books I read. And I'm like, look, it's kids. Yeah. And then I started reading X-Men too. I'm like, look, it's X-Men. Yeah. Which I know what that was.
Oh, I didn't get to see it live, but I watched the interview today with the Chip.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
That was pretty cool. With Metaphase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I seen it on my Facebook.
He's on NBC Nightly News, the national show.
Yeah. I should know. Cool. Yeah, and he posted a thing today about the Amazon.
Yeah, it went from it was ranked what was it, 370,000 in books, and now it's ranked 300th in books.
It went up 117,000%. It jumped 117,000% or whatever. It made leaps and bounds.
But when I go on Amazon, it says that it's it's on back order, so they can't.
Imagine that.
Well, they were going. I know they went to another.
I know they went to another printing.
Maybe they're not.
But I don't know how fast you can print a graphic novel like that. I mean, alternative press isn't exactly like Marvel Comics that can just turn crap around. It's not like they have their own printing press, so they can just print whatever they want, whenever they want.
That's true. They just have Kelly there drawing every new book.
Right.
He's hand drawing every.
Kelly Williams.
Yes.
He's only working for alternative right now.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway.
All right. What you got, Drew?
You guys are 6 good.
You're done?
I have something else, but I'm still preparing for it.
You're still preparing.
You're downloading a lot of stuff, apparently. All right.
The Sixth Gun, Volume 2.
Okay.
This is like huge. Look at that.
Oh
I mean,
God.
it takes up
I know,
the whole screen there.
read that. I read that, and then I read Moon Knight, and it like hurt my eyes.
I can
Moon
believe
Knight
that.
was so small.
I gotta say, I do enjoy this huge volume. It is so nice to read. It's like reading on Drew's like massive iPad.
I know.
Right?
You know,
It's bigger than Drew's
it's
iPad.
It is
nice.
bigger than my
It's
iPad.
clear. I don't have to squint at all.
Real quick before we get into this,
Art is
volume
fantastic.
4 is out, right?
I
Is
believe
that the
so.
end?
No, it's gonna go like 6 volumes, I think.
Six
Because Volume
volumes?
4 started putting in some of the miniseries. Like Volume 4 only has like 6 issues for the main series, and it's got like the miniseries in there.
Oh wow.
Okay.
So yeah, it's gonna probably go to at least 6, I think. Because it went to 50 issues.
So it's done.
It is done.
Well, it should be printed. It should be the editions. The deluxe editions should be out.
How many
in my
issues are in
basement.
like this?
12.
There's
Well,
12.
I think there were 12 in this one. So,
It's usually 10 to 12.
but this came out in April
Well,
of 2015.
That doesn't
is
make
when
much
this
sense to do
hardcover
6
was.
issues though. But I mean, 6 big books. But
I agree with you, but I also have to
I
like
guess
drop
it depends
like
on how many miniseries I guess there are.
They're not that bad.
they're like
They're
expensive.
50.
No, they're not 50. Look at the price.
$59.99.
$60.
Okay, they're 60.
And I don't get that great a discount on Oni Press. I'm only getting like 30.
It's
30%.
worth $59.99. I would pay retail for this.
Oh, good for you. I don't know what to tell you.
You would pay retail for it, huh?
Oh yeah, I would.
I would pay retail.
Wow.
And I'm
I
not.
don't pay retail for anything.
I'm not that huge. I mean, I like Brian Hurt. Like his art is good,
Phenomenal.
but it's not like.
The art is very good.
I really
and
like
I
the
do have to say, okay, so here's another one of these ones, aka Birthright, almost a little bit, in which I gotta admit, the first volume of Six Gun, I was so on. I was like, yeah, it's
Really?
kind of
The first hardcover?
Yeah, that first hardcover. When I read
Really?
that, it was kind of like, yeah, it's got a little interesting concept, and things, and I don't know. I just wasn't totally sold. Maybe because the main character. The dude who gets the majority of guns, like 4 of them or something.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what his
The
name
one
was
thing
now.
about the 6 on the
Drake?
first one,
Drake.
it
there you
almost
go.
felt like the first 6 issues could have just been the whole series. Like, it's so much happening
I
in the
would
first
agree.
6 issues.
I
I'm
would
like,
agree with a lot
why
of
is
that.
this keeping going? Like,
Why
everything
is it
was
so
done.
good? Yes.
I did get a little bit of that, but I think that's just because they didn't know how long it would go. They had like a longer story.
Yeah,
they wanted to get it all
but
in.
They wanted to get this chunk in.
And
it could
I
be.
get that.
And was it almost just too haphazard? I mean, I blame the last one for being a little slow, and maybe in the Six Gun were they given too much? I don't know. All I gotta say is Volume 2 was a hell of a lot better.
Is
than
this
the
the one
first
where they're in the mine and they're like running through the mine and there's all this stuff blowing up and stuff? Or is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
3?
it's in there, but I think even more so, it's building up some of these other characters that are around, like the freaking
It
dude
starts
that's
out with the train robbery.
the train robbery.
with
It's been so long.
the big
Sorry,
mummy
no.
guy.
Yeah, it starts off with the in the
What is it? A porg?
It's a Porg sticker.
and the mummy guy.
But
And I
it is
love
that.
the fact that they just like spent a whole issue talking about the tale of the mummy guy, and stuff. And I think just overall the way that they're
So porgs are made out of pineapple? Is that what
Somewhat.
you're telling me?
they kind of
That's
look
what
like a
she's turned
pineapple. But with the Six Gun, I like the mixing. I think that they're doing of the genres.
Yeah.
Of Western, of the supernatural. Throwing in now, kind of a mummy, and stuff like that, and all the ghosts, in this. I felt that in the first one it was building up, what are the 6 guns and what are the tail, and this type of things, and who's got the guns. This was almost getting a little bit more and going, okay, we have success. Here's how we want to do a world building type of thing. And I thought that they pulled it off very well.
Yeah. Since I'm reading it in this form and it just has chapters, it doesn't have issue numbers. So I read the introduction by Jason Aaron,
Mm-hmm.
and he mentioned that they did a silent issue. And I'm like, so I'm reading it, and I get to the silent issue, and I'm like, thinking to myself, I'm like, what is the point of the silent issue? And then I'm like, is it just like Eric Larson? He's like trying to, like when we talk to Eric Larson, he's like, I gotta come up with things to like keep me entertained, like occupied, come up with new things until I figured out that it's issue 21. That is the silent issue.
Snake Eyes.
So yeah, it's like I'm assuming it's
a little throwback to G.I. Joe.
It's a little homage or throwback to G.I. Joe silent
issue 21.
Because I kept thinking, I'm like, why would they just throw a random silent issue in the sixth gun? You know what I mean? Just to like do it so they could do it, but I mean,
very good catch. I did not pick up on that at all.
What that is, which I thought that was really cool because that's the whole mind chase thing. I think.
Oh, that's a big chunk of the mind thing.
Yeah, it's all the silent issue. In fact, I think that cover is from that.
Wouldn't be. Well, it's a bit of a mix in there because it's got the. Yeah, it looks like the mind.
But I'm with you. I mean, it's a great book. I finished. Well, I finished Head Lopper yesterday, and then so thought I was gonna get some reading done late last night, and I broke out volume 3, but I only got like one issue in, so I actually am ready to start the next one. So if you want to take 3,
ooh, there we go, tag team on that.
But yeah, it's. I still don't know what all the guns do. They keep telling me over and over again what guns do what.
Yeah.
I know like gun 2, I think, is like the firebomb or the
one of them blows up things.
One of them brings back people that have been shot by it. And
yep.
It's I can't remember.
And then you got her gun that like allows her to like see where people are at or something.
Oh yeah, you can like
transport type stuff and things. But yeah, you're right. But overall, I guess it doesn't bother me too much because the guns are just.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean, the book is called The Six Guns.
I know.
So,
the 6 guns.
There's 6 guns. I mean,
and there's still one of them missing, right?
Yeah.
The way I got the feel, or is that somebody's got one?
He has 4.
He's got 4. She's got 1, and then maybe the old lady's got 1 though.
Yeah, maybe she still has 1.
I think that's it. So it's not really missing. It's just that the good guys don't have it, so to speak. I mean, how good.
Well, in this one, he kind of goes rogue and goes bad for half of the book. But he's playing.
Well, he's playing them a little bit, but half the book it was like 2 issues.
Okay,
maybe.
Well, it seemed like
it wasn't very long.
It seemed like a while. So. But no, the train robbery.
And maybe that's why I like this one a little bit better because he's kind of out of it. I mean, it's really her tale and the other little side tales. That was a little bit more enjoyable for me, which I like I said, I like this buildup of some of these other characters.
No, it's good. I really like it.
It's a good book. It's pretty solid.
Yeah, I would agree.
Alright, so what I've been mostly reading is I've been rereading all the Uncanny X-Men on my iPad. So, last year for Christmas, I got the Uncanny X-Men Omnibus, the first one, that was like 94 through like the Dark Phoenix saga. And then I started trying to read them, but I kind of, whatever. But then I got my new iPad, and it's so much nicer to read them. So I started up again. So I've read like 50 issues between Uncanny X-Men and New Mutants. So I'm reading them like as they came out type of thing. You know what I mean?
God, look at that. Uncanny X.
Look through some of that.
You're doing the Uncanny X
I guess.
podcast.
Yeah. Sure. I'm doing my great X-Men reread.
Set up as the covers?
Yeah, so I have the covers.
How do the panels look? I mean, is it pretty good to read on this thing then?
Oh, yeah.
You can zoom in on stuff?
So like here's a panel. Yeah. Like
holy cow.
So yeah, it looks pretty good.
Ooh.
Well, you could zoom in, but you can read it fine without zooming in.
You can. Well, unless you're blind like I am.
That's true.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
But anyway, so...
unless you're blind
like
how much is issue 159 worth on your iPad there?
It's not worth anything.
Oh.
A dime.
But anyway, so I started reading...
Cents?
It's like 160 is the issue where Ileana gets captured, right?
It's the first appearance of the Punisher?
No. So I said, oh, cool. I should go back and I should read Magic's limited series. So I go back and read that. So I just take like a segue and I pull it up on my iPad and I read it and I, so it kind of tells, which was kind of fun.
They just need to have
but what's
a link
weird
in
is
there,
like, did you know that the Magic miniseries came out like a year after this issue or more? No. Like it didn't come out like at the same time. So it's like they did this story and then Ileana just came older and Chris Claremont just decided like a year later, oh, I'm going to go ahead and do a miniseries and tell the backstory.
He was busy.
I guess.
He didn't have time.
That was weird. But then the whole Brood saga comes. That lasts for 50,000 issues, it seems like.
So what is this?
That's
The
like
Brood
6 or
saga.
7.
It's like Chris Claremont's riff on like the aliens, the
And
xenomorphs.
Professor X died.
He did not die.
So
I just saw
like
him. Right there.
He's just unconscious.
No, he's dead.
He has a brood in him.
Yeah.
They get around that though. Do you remember how they fixed that issue?
Mm-mm.
So like they clone him a new body and like transfer his mind,
Yeah, that's right.
and that's why he can walk because his legs are no longer crushed.
Awesome.
Yep, exactly.
And he wears that leotard.
One thing I realized is that Paul Smith is the greatest artist, X-Men artist of like that almost of all time. I love that guy. His stuff is so good, man.
His stuff is good, but I wouldn't say the greatest.
Maybe not
X-Men
the greatest,
artist
but
of all
man.
time.
Like, okay, so I went from like
Top 15.
I'm reading the Cockrum issues, and I like Cockrum. He's okay. Then you go to Paul Smith. I mean, it's like a light goes off in your head. It's like an explosion for your eyes. It's like so much. I don't know. I just enjoy it. And then we get
Cochran over Smith.
no. You go back and read these issues.
On
Like,
an iPad.
Read 150 through 175, and you tell me Cockrum is better than Smith. Just do it.
Okay.
But anyway, then we get to my favorite like X-Men story ever, which is Paul Smith. It's the issue where they capture the Morlocks come into it. They capture Angel, and then Storm and Callisto fight. Like, I remember reading that as a kid. That was like the greatest thing ever. And even now, like, I still love it. It's like so good. Okay, so you have that wonderful 2-issue series, right? Which is just phenomenal. Like, everything about it is great. Then you go into the next. So Rogue comes, right? Next issue, it's the Wolverine and Silver Samurai 2-issue thing with him and Rogue where they're in Japan.
Right, so how long did it take for this before they did the Wolverine miniseries?
I think the Wolverine series happened before this because that's why he's in Japan because he's already done that whole thing and him and Mariko together and this is when they're going to get married or whatever.
So then what about the Kitty Pryde and the Wolverine?
I don't know when that happened. I haven't got there yet. I don't think.
Okay.
But anyway, and then Paul Smith leaves about 177. But then John Romita Jr. takes over. And I know it's early John Romita Jr., but it's still great.
It's John Romita Jr. doing Paul Smith.
Yeah. It's weird. There's one issue where John Romita Jr. is being inked by, like, I think his dad, like John Romita Sr. or whatever. Doesn't look that good. And then we get to where Dan Green starts inking him. Night and day. I love it. So much better than what I'm used to. Or so much better, closer to what I remember.
You should go back.
Which one?
Like 177.
Okay. Yes.
I think that's the first X-Men book I ever read.
No, I think it was this one. This is the one we had.
What's the one where Kitty Pryde falls off the thing? And
Yeah,
dies?
it's this one. Yeah, it's
And then
into
the
this
one,
issue.
is that the one where Colossus gets... They freeze
Yeah,
him?
they freeze him. Yeah, this is the
Okay,
issue.
So it's 177.
This is the first one we read, yeah.
Okay. Then I must have gone back and read 177.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
And I remember 177. But
178 is the one where he gets frozen at the end and Kitty Pryde falls off and dies or whatever. Yeah. Because the Morlocks are captured or whatever. So, but anyway, yeah, and then they get back from Secret Wars.
Right.
Yeah. And then this is where I'm at now. So we just got into where Storm just got hit with the neutralizer gun and introduces her powers. So I just started reading Life, Death or whatever. The first one.
The good Romita right there.
Oh yeah, no, it's good. Well, then we're gonna get into the 190 where like was it Ra's al Ghul or that one guy takes over the city. That's good Romita there too. I know it's that other guy. Some ancient sorcerer guy. But anyway, I've also been so at one point the New Mutants start, right? So I'm reading the New Mutants at the same time I'm reading X-Men since that's kind of part of the X-Men sort of family or whatever. So I've been reading all those too. Man, talk about like I don't know who came up with that character, but it's like so Mr. T. It's like could you really not get any more original than that?
Yeah. That's the height of Mr. T.
I guess. And so I guess they need a bad guy that looked like Mr. T. It's pretty bad. It's very racial stereotypical too. It's it's almost offensive. Yes, his name's Axe because he has an axe. That's the most original name. Hey, what if we get this guy who looks like Mr. T with an axe and we'll call him Axe?
Let's give him a spear.
That's because Clever Lang was already taken.
I gotta tell you, these early like 10 or so issues of New Mutants, not the greatest.
No, they're not good.
They're not that good.
Not until you get to Sienkiewicz. Actually, the new Roma stuff is pretty good.
That's just pretty bad too. No. It gets good when you get into where magic starts to get into it, and you get like Syme, and that happened a little before. But yeah, then I got to the Demon Bear, and I just read that. Still very, very good, obviously. But yeah, when Sienkiewicz comes, that's when it really takes off. And then Warlock comes into it. Yeah, it becomes phenomenal at that point.
Now, is that all available on the Marvel Unlimited?
Yeah, it's all in the Marvel Unlimited app. So I just click on it, I just read the next one. It's very nice.
Sweet.
It's very nice.
Very nice. But that's kind of what I've been reading. And then I've been
100 long boxes in that iPad.
pretty much. And so I've also been trying to read
How much space do you have on there?
Well, you don't have to store them.
You don't store them? So
No, you just stream them, basically. It's like streaming for,
so
you can store up to 10 comics in the app that you can take offline when you're not connected to the internet and, go somewhere to the beach or whatever and read them.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like Netflix, how they'll let you download stuff to your iPad.
So you're just essentially checking them out, though, in a way.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not saving them or anything.
And then you don't save it or anything. Could you?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I guess you could. You could do what I used to do with those other ones. I could take a screenshot of each one and then make a PDF, but I don't know. Not that hard.
It's worth the work for that.
Yeah, no. I mean,
no,
Marvel Unlimited is so cheap. It's like $60 a year, so it's like $5 a month, and you can read as much as you want. So,
yeah.
I mean, as someone who reads as many comics as me, it's like nothing. I mean, $5 is like one single issue comic at full retail price almost.
And now you have access to thousands.
Yeah. And so I like to go back and read the old stuff too. So it works for me pretty well.
No, that's good to know though too. I just didn't know storage space if that took up much.
No, it doesn't take up hardly anything.
Okay, that's good.
So another thing I realized is since we used to have a Diamond account, Image still sends us previews of their books. They sent me all these PDFs of some of their new books. Did you see that? So I've got. I did read. Oh, that's something I could talk about. This was actually pretty good.
Is it something that hasn't come out yet?
Yeah, I think so.
You're probably not supposed to talk about it.
Well, then they shouldn't have sent it to me. I don't have a Diamond account. I don't care.
Well, you won't get any freebies much longer.
But this is the...
because so many people listen to our podcast.
Correct.
You've got a ton of people today.
So
word got out there.
Right. So
They're
anyway,
all related to us.
I don't know what this book is called. Nick Wilson. It's like the New Adventures of Nick Wilson. So it's about this guy who he was a superhero. He lost his power. Now he does kids' birthday parties and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't buy that book.
I didn't either, but I read it because they gave me a free copy of the first issue. It's actually pretty good.
I want to buy it.
I'm almost ready to buy it. It's pretty good. Pretty tight. So it's fun. It's very slice of life-ish. I don't know. It's pretty cool. I liked it.
Cool. So how many issues are you going to order for your store?
0.
Yeah.
So anyway. But yeah.
Nice.
So anyway, that's all I got.
I'm going to read 1,000 comics for next week.
I think you should go see The Last Jedi again.
I've been reading John Byrne's X-Men in my bound issues. I'm up to I'm almost through the first hardcover.
Okay.
So should read those.
I'm excited. No, I have way too much stuff to catch up on. I don't have time to go back.
All right.
I don't have the luxury like you to just sit around and reread stuff.
Because you sit around watching Lucifer, which is the worst television show ever.
It's not the worst television show ever. I don't know what you have against Lucifer. Have you ever watched an episode of it?
I just know it's bad.
Then it's not. Then you don't know.
It's bad.
Whatever.
I don't know. I don't watch TV much.
It's entertaining.
If it's not Sports Center, then I probably didn't watch it.
What else is TV supposed to be other than entertaining?
That's all it's supposed to be.
And it's entertaining.
Okay. Well, that's all I have for this week. You got anything else?
No, I don't.
You got anything else, Scott?
No, don't think so.
Is that what you're thinking to read?
I am.
Okay.
Cool.
All
right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks.
We'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.
I'm going to read volume